is the 77 WABC minicast.
Ron Johnson looks great, the senator out of the great state of Wisconsin. And Ron's on the phone right now. Ron, what's going on this morning in Milwaukee? How are you, buddy?
Morning, Sid. Well, unfortunately, I'm in D.C. It's going to be a hot one, but we'll start figuring out how to fund CBP and ICE. Hopefully the House cooperates. And we really need to support President Trump in ending this war that Iran started against us 47 years ago.
Well, you mentioned ICE, though. I want to go back to that for a second because people, listen, the Iran thing, we'll get there, too. It's not all that popular these days. But people keep saying to me, we got to get this Save America Act done. Bottom line, just as important as, funding DHS and getting all these businesses back and running, especially our airports. But they're really, really concerned about the Save America Act. Anything on that, Ron Johnson?
Well, again, we appreciate the fact that Leader Thune put it on the floor. I know a lot of talk about the talking filibuster. The problem with that is Robert Byrd back in 1986 changed the precedent where offering an amendment was no longer considered a speech under the two speech rules. So there's really no way of preventing just an infinite number of amendments to bring that debate to an end so we can vote with just a simple majority. So the only way that passes in total, all of the Save America Act is if we eliminate cloture vote and the filibuster, which I've been publicly supporting for quite some time. Sid, we have pretty well eviscerated the filibuster anyway. Harry Reid started eliminating cloture and the ability to filibuster judges so he could pack the D.C. Circuit Court. We had to follow suit by eliminating for Supreme Court justices because they were obstructing the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch. We had to do it just last year on other nominations because otherwise President Trump would not have been able to staff his administration, the Democrats being so obstructionist, so obnoxious that we eliminated the cloture vote on those nominations. So what's left of it? We pushed reconciliation. Both sides have pushed what you can do through reconciliation so we can pass that with 50 votes. Yeah, you have to do vote around them, but that's a big charade. So, what's left? What's left is basically the ability of the Democrats to block election integrity. And I personally think that we've got 3 years here with President Trump in office because the minute Democrats get in office, they've got the presidency, the House, and the Senate. They will end the filibuster. They'll turn D.C. and Puerto Rico into states. That's probably 4 new Democrat senators. They'll pack the Supreme Court. They will nationalize federal elections. They've been accusing the Save America Act of nationalizing elections. No, it just puts reasonable controls on it. They will nationalize the elections. They will require automatic registration, mail-in balloting. They will remove all controls that prevent people who shouldn't be voting from voting, people that by and large would vote for Democrats. So that's what's going to happen. I've just been supporting let's be in the punch and pass Save America Act. The only way you can do that is if we end the filibuster. A lot of my Republican colleagues aren't for that. They're hoping against hope the Democrats won't do that so that we can block their legislation when they're minority. Again, that is, by the way, the split in the Republican conference. Those of us who are certain the Democrats will end the filibuster when they have a chance, and those that are assuming they won't, I think it's a bad assumption.
Yeah, I agree with you, 100%. The Iran thing, look, I'm on record. I'm very adamant about it. I get a lot of people that follow me on Twitter, Ron Johnson, and certainly millions listen to this radio show. And I've been very adamant. A year ago tomorrow, believe it or not, April 15, 2025, I'm going to play it. President Trump was on this show, and I said, Mr. President, we need to bomb Iran. A year ago tomorrow. And he said, I'll take that under suggestion. We're thinking about that. A few months after that, we had Midnight Hammer. A few months after that, we're in a legitimate war with Iran. And I'm tired of these meetings. No disrespect to J.D. or Witkoff or Kushner. They do nothing. They've done nothing. The Iranians have no desire, zero desire to comply with what we want. I don't want to hear any more extensions. I don't want to hear Trump say, like he said yesterday, they really want to talk. No, they don't. They're liars. They're never going to do it. And I really was hoping that last Tuesday, Trump was going to light them up. So for me, it's not a matter of will Iran comply. It's how do we, listen carefully, Ron, how do we make sure we don't kill a lot of civilians because it's time to finish them? What are your thoughts?
I completely agree. I was asked on the Sunday show where the host said, you support the Iran war. And I said, no, I don't. I do not support the war that the Ayatollahs, the Iranian regime, declared on the West 47 years ago. I do not support that war. What I support is ending it once and for all. And it concerns me when I wake up and I hear the Wall Street Journal reporting that apparently the administration offered Iran, well, we'll let you just suspend enrichment for 20 years. I agree with President Trump who said, no, we'll never let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Okay, that's what Obama said. That's what Biden said. Unfortunately, Obama and his deal would have allowed Iran basically to be nuclear power now. I think that's for 10 years where they suspended enrichment. And so you just give them the green light. I don't want to give them the green light. I want to destroy that regime. We're not at war with the Iranian people. I don't want to end their civilization. I don't want to bomb them back to the Stone Age. I want to destroy the brutal and the unbelievably brutal regime, the regime that murdered 30 to 40,000 of their citizens in a couple of days, the people peacefully protesting, the people that unleashed Hamas to brutalize Israeli in the most brutal way, slaughter 1,200 Israelis. I mean, this is who we're dealing with, and they need to end. They can't be on the dustbin of history soon enough from my standpoint.
No, me too. And the good news about that deal, the 20-year deal that we offered, which I'm with you, is silly because you're either going to wipe it out forever or you're not. 20 years is not nearly long enough. They said, no, we'll give you 5. 5. Only a quarter of what we were looking for, so it doesn't look like that's going to come to means anyway. And so Sid Rosenberg and Ron Johnson, two brilliant men, agree. President Trump, let's just end this and stop with this nonsense, these extensions and talks and another 10 days, another 5 days, another 2 weeks. Let's put this thing to bed. One of the things, Ron, that you do, one of the topics or one of the policies that you're knee deep in, which I love about you, is the vaccines. You and I had that conversation last time you were on. I didn't know much about vaccines until about 6 months ago. And then I talked to Bobby Kennedy at every opportunity. I had Dr. Oz in studio last week. I've got a lot of friends and people who know about this that come on the show. People like Mary Holland and Michael Caine and Victoria Capish, just to name a few. I've had Aaron Siri on this show who wrote the great book about the vaccines. And you are 100% right, calling out the Joe Biden COVID vaccine for the health risk, stroke from that COVID shot. Why aren't more people talking about this in the mainstream media, Ron Johnson?
Because the vast majority of people in the media, in government, in our medical establishment, in federal health agencies, they push this on the American people. They don't want to admit something that they were encouraging people to take might have killed them or might have disabled them for life. So they don't want to admit they're wrong. So that's a basic human tendency they're up against. But no, we've uncovered now that they hear the signal on myocarditis early. In February, March, April of 2021, they hid the signal that they were getting consistently at the end of 2022 on ischemic stroke for over 65 for the bivalent booster. But Sid, we are working on right now, and we'll be releasing here in the near future as part of our 11 million page document dump. We finally uncovered what I think is sort of the cover up of all cover ups. I mean, we are seeing that the CDC fully understood the issue of masking within their safety surveillance systems. And what that is, it means because they were comparing Pfizer and Moderna, they weren't separating them. They completely missed all kinds of very serious safety signals, and they were well aware that they were doing it because they didn't want to create vaccine hesitancy. So this is, we're putting the finishing touches on this. We're doing interviews with people. I hope I don't have to subpoena some of the people involved so they come forward with real testimony. But they fully understood within the CDC that these shots were killing people, that they were causing strokes, that they were causing thrombosis, that they were causing serious side effects, and they hid it from the American public.
Bottom line. So I'm glad that you're exposing all these people, Ron. You're a great senator, man. You're common sense. You're smart. You know money. You know vaccines. You know law. You know all of it. So Wisconsin's very lucky, and so is America, to have you. As always, my friend Ron Johnson, thank you so much.
Have a great day. Take care.
You too, buddy. Ron Johnson right there is a senator from the great state of Wisconsin, although he's in D.C. today.